What's up, everyone? Welcome to Sean's Movie Corner. I just saw Fly Me to the Moon, and I'm going to tell you what I thought about it right now.
Hold on. If you fake this mission, every single thing that we have sacrificed will have been for nothing.
In the spring of 2022, Apple TV Plus paid $100 million to acquire Fly Me to the Moon. At the time, the project didn't have a director and was destined to drop on streaming. Jason Bateman was attached as the director at one point, but left over creative differences, and in search of a new director, Scarlett Johansson, the film's producer, reached out to Greg Berlanti to take over. Fly Me to the Moon is only Berlanti's third film directing after 2018's Love, Simon and 2010's Life as We Know It. He's better known for his work on television, working as a producer on longtime CW staples such as Riverdale, Arrow, and The Flash. The movie takes place in 1968 when marketer Kelly Jones is recruited by the US government to work for NASA to convince the public and politicians that the Apollo 11 moon landing will be a success. With skepticism growing, the government coordinates a fake moon landing to be plotted as a backup. Along the way, Jones clashes with the launch director Cole Davis, played by Channing Tatum, where an unlikely romance blossoms. Fly Me to the Moon only teeters on fiction in some elements. Most of the movie is at least based on the real-life events. As movie fans, we often evaluate movies on a different scale than most people. If you've ever just had a conversation with the most casual moviegoer, you'll realize that the disconnect in our movie-going interests doesn't come from what we watch, but rather why we watch them. One of the things I love about movies is that every movie has the chance to surprise me in new ways, explore themes I've never thought about before, and give me a truly unique experience. However, as movies become more stylized by voices like the Safdie brothers, Robert Eggers, or Wes Anderson, they decrease in accessibility and have less of a chance at serving general audiences' needs to just pass the time. A film buff craves movies that take risks, whereas many people value safe storytelling. And if I were to summarize Fly Me to the Moon in one word, it would be safe. It seems like nearly every aspect of Fly Me to the Moon was made with the goal of appealing to the broadest general audience. From the writing of the characters to the story to especially the humor, it seems like every effort was taken to make a movie that wouldn't offend anyone. And as a result, this is a movie that everyone can enjoy, but only very few will love. And that's because, as in all things, there are trade-offs to filmmaking. The pleasantness of the story requires that there's very little tension or suspense. By making the characters likable, they're prevented from showcasing many distinctive personality traits, and every joke is neutered to cater to as many people as possible. And to some people, this lack of an edge is irrelevant. They go for the story, and if it's about a subject matter they like, the writing isn't important to them. For older people specifically, they don't need their movies to be subversive, edgy, or experimental. They want something like Fly Me to the Moon, stuff that's wholesome, light, and easy to consume. Just for me, it felt a little too watered down to really be able to win me over. The fall-off of Channing Tatum is something to at least monitor at this point. He's stuck in this sort of Hollywood limbo of consistently getting jobs, but hasn't been in a project that has really popped for a long time. In the past few years, his projects have included Dog, The Lost City, Magic Mike's Last Dance, and now this. These movies aren't bad as much as they're just boringly mediocre. He's a talented guy, but I think his objective at this point should be finding a role, whether big or small, in something that has the potential to stand out. The one theme of the movie that I thought held some weight is the exploration of how the importance of work can actually revitalize someone in pursuit of their purpose. As a marketer, Scarlett Johansson's character feels empty and like her work is simply embellishment and sometimes lying about products. Through her work at NASA, she feels like her work is more important, and thus she feels more fulfilled as a person. Which is a message I think a lot of people can resonate with. Many people have jobs that don't provide the kind of meaning that they're looking for, and as a result their well-being and in some cases their character suffers. And so even though it's not the deepest message and there are other ones people might latch onto more, I thought it was the most unique one. So, as a whole, Fly Me to the Moon is completely serviceable, but is too plain in its style and writing for me to recommend. This is one of those streaming movies that got a theatrical release, but still at its core feels like a streaming movie. At 2 hours and 15 minutes, it's too long, the majority of jokes didn't land, so I'm gonna give it a 2 out of 5 stars. Thank you for watching my review of Fly Me to the Moon. Please consider liking and subscribing, and I hope to see you next time.